Welcome. Are you sitting comfortably? Are you focused and not thinking about whatever's bothering you these days? I'm not here to test you. Please relax. Let your thoughts come and go and listen as they fade away in the distance. For better or for worse, this is where your life has brought you. Looking at a screen, listening to me. Imagine, for a moment, that you've just had a child. It's healthy, but unfortunately also completely blind. For their whole life, they will live in the dark and not see a thing. Their perception of reality is something that you might never be able to comprehend. How would you describe the world to them? What can't be touched or heard, smelled or tasted? How would you describe sunlight? By what it does? Or how it feels in their skin? I think I'd play them this piece of music. First composed by Tchaikovsky in 1878, these rays of light have traveled through decade after decade, finally reaching your ears this very moment. You have also traveled far to get here today, but you're only passing through and should probably get going. While you're here, I'd like to tell you a story.
It all happened to me when I was young, walking in a forest much like you are. Those were days filled with boundaries and rules, of no running in the hallways, don't do this or that or the other.
With my world full of fierce discipline, I walked the forest to breathe.
One day, deep in the woods, I found a funny-looking tree, crooked, old, and wrinkly. With a little work, a few bits of bark became huge ships. Calm creeks turned to ferocious oceans. I could still recall people I imagined dragged downstream
with a sense of guilt.
As I gazed back
upon the old tree, I noticed something peculiar. It was crying.
Every crumple, like eyes closed tightly, clear drops
streaming silently down its wrinkly skin. So I did, as children do, tasted it. Not because it looked tasty, but
to figure out what it was.
The first drop made my tongue tingle, the second made it prickle, and the very moment
the third landed on my tongue,
a profound sensation spread through my
chest. Undefinable, like thirst,
both vague and specific. One thing was clear.
Something was changing within me. I remember breathing in
and out, feeding the fire.
following day, I woke to a slight prickle in my fingertips.
I studied them closely,
discovering circular ridges in the foreign landscape of my skin. The prickling soon slipped my attention. It would be another week
Until it returned, a wave of gentle needles moving over my skin.
A limb
Falling asleep, perhaps?
I did not start worrying until it returned for the third time.
first making its way up my neck, before engulfing my skull
completely from behind. I could even feel the tiny needles covering
My eyeballs. But it did not stop there.
I held my breath as
The small thorns crawled around my lips, or spreading into my lungs and stomach.
My awareness spread with it, and I remember the
Strange
strangest
sensation of my mushy dinner in there.
as if I held its remains in the palm of my hand.
My body took control and opened my mouth. An explosion of air rushing into my lungs.
The tingling spread
with it through an endless web of veins, soon reaching my
beating heart. For a moment, I stood in awe.
of the activity within my body. I felt my heart
Heart beating faster, and my skin
sweating. Your body is your only vessel in this world. And when it misbehaves, the claustrophobia is total. See how?
I thought. And at that very moment, the tingling needle shot from my brain down through my spine. I felt them scatter through my upper leg. My muscles contracted
to lift my knee. My body weight shifted forward,
and a shockwave spread from the foot sole as it landed softly on the ground.
The process repeated itself in greater detail for every step.
I was overwhelmed, but my body kept moving.
I did not at all feel like the boss giving directions. It all happened automatically.
And I was simply along for the ride, like you.
The doctor's office was cold and
White.
crossing the floor.
Felt like a polar expedition. My parents,
Distant features of the landscape.
I wanted to explain, but was unable.
My lips and tongue engaged in an intricate choreography.
myself in the audience.